Welcome to Ozarks Tonight. I'm Brian Calfano, and it's our Show Me Politics segment this evening, talking about all things Missouri politically related. And we're joined for this by Missouri Times reporter Caitlin Shawhorn, who's been with us before. Caitlin, as always, thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Now, the two topics we ought to cover. First, we've got a new poll, relatively new poll out, showing where the Democrats who are running for president are falling out in terms of their support among Missouri voters. And apparently, former Vice President Joe Biden is in the lead. Tell us more about this poll.
Yes, so this was a poll conducted after one of the very first debates in September among likely Democratic voters here in the state. And Joe Biden came out on top. Elizabeth Warren followed him. But as that poll shows, he has a very commanding lead over any of his primary opponents.
Does that surprise you? We talked about this in our last visit, that Biden may be the best to go up against President Trump in terms of the types of demographics he appeals to in states like Missouri, like Ohio, maybe even downstate Illinois. So was this essentially expected, or are people surprised that this guy is able to hold this front-runner status for as long as he has?
No, it's not really surprising. It definitely follows national trends, how some of the national polls have turned out in recent months. I think one of the most surprising things is how close Elizabeth Warren is to him compared to maybe some of the other candidates. But Joe Biden being in the front runner pretty much tracked.
All right, so you've got Warren then in the second place position. Where was Sanders in all of this? He was third. Was it a close third to Warren, or was he back a bit in the pack?
He's back a bit. Biden was polling in the 30s, Warren in the 20s, and then Sanders was about 14 or 13. So he's got a little ways to go if he wants to try to catch up with the former vice president. And with his recent health issues and some concern about how he handled it, he's got a lot of ground to cover.
Yeah, I think that's right, particularly given the fact that there's lots of questions about, well, even for Biden, folks that age being able to really run this race, and then if they win, they have to assume the presidency itself. So they need to be ready to go, and they have to have endurance. But let me ask you this. Any other surprises from that poll in terms of how the other top-tier candidates might be doing, like Buttigieg and Harris and some others?
Yeah, Harris didn't even make it into the top 5 there, so she's not looking that great for Missouri. One thing that I thought was interesting was how much the party, the Democratic Party here in Missouri, kind of distanced itself from noticing that Biden was in the lead. I spoke to the executive director of the Democratic Party, and she said that she's hesitant to call him a front runner, despite how he's doing in the polls, because he hasn't come to visit Missouri yet this cycle.
Yeah, so when you think about then how this is all going to play out, I don't know that anyone is betting that President Trump loses Missouri in the general election, no matter who the Democratic nominee happens to be. But is it the case the Democrats have been out of practice so long in this state and running successful statewide campaigns that there's not going to be the kind of coordination between whoever gets that nomination and the state Democratic apparatus?
I think there's definitely some concern with that, and obviously depending on the candidate, it could make or break some of the statewide elections that we have here. I know Nicole Galloway, our state auditor, she's running for governor against Mike Parson, and I'm sure her campaign is looking very closely at who's going to be on top there and leading the ticket. Someone like Vice President Joe Biden is a lot more popular here in Missouri and would encourage maybe some more turnout and maybe would help her election and her campaign a little more.
Fascinating stuff. Now, Caitlin, you also reported recently on this new state demographer position. We now are having, what, auditions for that job? We have folks who are throwing their resumes in the hat. What's going on with this?
Yeah, last month they opened the application process up for this new position. It was a position that voters approved of when they approved the Clean Missouri Amendment there last year. We've opened up the application process, and it's open until December. We've got 3 applicants so far who have applied, but only one who seems to be serious, and only one who's really completed the full scope of the application process. His name is Jason Ross. He's a former Air Force veteran, a history teacher here in Jefferson City, and
he has experience
seems to have all of his applications
He has
done.
experience as a demographer, yes? I would hope that's part of the process, that he actually has done this before.
Well, he's got some experience with it based on his career in the Air Force, and so I think that would give him kind of an edge and make him a front runner there.
These positions, well, I guess it's just the position for being the demographer. It's supposed to be nonpartisan. Does that mean that they're hiding, as these candidates, they're hiding their political affiliation entirely, or they're just downplaying it, or what?
They can. I think it's more downplaying, and obviously that's a concern among Republicans. Republicans who didn't really support this, they're concerned that the auditor, who's going to be tasked with giving a minimum of 3 names to the state Senate next year, they're worried that she's going to pick maybe 3 of the more liberal or 3 more Democratic candidates who would redraw the districts more to their liking instead of Republicans.
And the districts in question are the state House and Senate districts that are redrawn, what, every 10 years?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it would be the state House and the state Senate. And so what is going to happen is the state auditor will submit a list of minimum of 3 names to the state Senate, and it'll be up to the majority and minority leader there to kind of whittle it down and decide who their candidate will be. And if they can't agree, then they can take names off the list and give it back to the auditor, and it'll be more of a lottery system to choose.
Clean Missouri, yeah, but no less complicated, I think, than before in certain ways, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Caitlin Schallhorn from the Missouri Times joining us tonight for our Show Me Politics segment. Caitlin, as always, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
And we'll be back after this.